What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, you guys. The purpose of this video is to discuss where I think XCN is going to go in the short term, where I think it'll be by the end of the week, and then also, of course, where I think it'll be by the end of this move, which is likely going to be sometime in February is my thoughts. So if that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Let's get into it. Okay, so here we are sitting at about 1 cent right now, just above it. I think we do go below it, and I want to clarify some things that I said yesterday, right? I was saying yesterday that I think it's a great time to buy. It's maybe not the most ideal time to sell if you're trying to sell and then buy back in at lower prices, right? And the reason I said that is because you never know when these moves can absolutely continue to go higher, and I do expect it to go lower here. And even though I do expect it to go lower, I'm not playing this game. I'm not going to sell and try to buy lower, right? Because it's too risky. I've done this before. This is my third bull cycle, right? I've played this game before. Oftentimes you lose, and crypto is very famous for making people lose that game, because at any given moment, especially whenever it makes the least sense, you just do some crazy bullish stuff, right? And to me, it would make the most sense right now that we go down, but watch that mean that XCN's about to move up, right? Oftentimes when you're in absurdly bullish conditions, it's when the chart almost looks bearish, it's deceitful, and that means that it's going to move up. But let's get into my prediction right now. I do think that it is going to move down, okay? If we look at this from a relative low here to a relative high, my thoughts would be that we go down to about 0.007, just below there at 0.0069, something like that. Based off this fib, that would make a lot of sense. If we put a line there at the 382, we go back to the left. There's no significance really on the price action. So on a price action perspective, I guess that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, which is kind of reassuring, or maybe it's kind of concerning, because the next area would be down here, all the way down there at the 0.5. I mean, it's possible, guys. XCN, here's the thing. You're dealing with a coin that is very volatile. And I don't know what it's like in moments like this and moves like this. We've seen moves that were close to this, but not quite as extreme in levels of volume and everything. I don't know what this could promote, right? It's still XCN. It is a volatile coin. Could it pull all the way back down to ½ cent and touch back at previous areas of resistance to find support? Could it drop 67%? I think it's possible. And that's why if you're going to buy this coin, you need to have that discussion with yourself that that's possible. It's possible that not only could it drop down there, but that would actually look good on the charts, and then it would rip and roar up to the upside again, past wherever you bought. So it definitely wouldn't be worth selling. It's just, if you bought here, you have to be aware of that risk. It's there. It definitely is there. I personally don't think we're going to go down there. That sounds a bit too extreme of a drop to me. And even this 382, which is so weird that even that sounds a bit too extreme. But I mean, that's a 58% drop. That is a bit extreme. But generally speaking, with moves like this, you do find support on your 382s. Generally speaking. Come on, if I can get it on there. Which would be at 0.0069. But let's see if we can figure some other things out. Let's see if we can look at this at a different perspective and maybe refine this range a little bit. Again, I expect we're going to move down, but I don't think we're going to move down too much. The lowest I would give is probably around 0.007, around there. Of course, it could go lower, and if it does, it's not a problem as long as we have good structure in the charts. But looking at this here, I mean, we tore all the way up through the 1618. We even closed above the golden ratio yesterday. That's crazy, man. That's like your first attempt. You just move up and close through it. Generally, I don't expect you to go below like your 1414 in situations like this, or especially your 1272. Let me look at the 4-hour. I don't know, dude. You found support right at that 1414. Now you're at the 1618, but you're slipping. Maybe you come right back down here and you find support there. Maybe even go just below it. Is there another way we can look at this? Let me see. Let me look at the daily. What? Okay, right here. All the way up to your 2886 money line, baby. So probably back down to your 1886. That's a very classic thing, which lines up with that first area we were talking about pretty well. Okay, so that's making sense. Now here's where I want to get a little bit contradictive, okay? If I haven't had some contradictions already in this video, I would like to get a little contradictive here, okay? Again, and maybe not again, maybe not in this video, is it something I've said before? I've had a couple moments specifically with XCN, where I will call for a pullback and it pulls back a little bit, but then it rips, then it runs. You know what I mean? And I'm not calling for like an extreme pullback, but even, where were we down here? No, where was it? Where was it? Was it here? It had to, I think it was on this day. I think it might have even been actually on this day, on Thursday, where I was calling for the price. We were, let me see, let me look at the 4-hour time frame. Would that have been, I think that was Thursday, yeah. I would have called for the price to pull back, and it did pull back a little bit, but I was calling for it to pull back to 0.003. It barely pulled back to 0.00325, right? And to go to 0.003, that would have been all the way down here. So it did pull back from wherever I first originally said that, but it didn't pull back as much as I thought. So here we're pulling back, sure. My expectation could be, you know, somewhere around here, maybe even somewhere around here, but perhaps we don't. Perhaps we find support and we keep moving higher. And actually, I want to look at this a little bit more in depth from another perspective. Hold on. That same fib, I think I just saw something through the lines there. High to low. No. Yes. Okay. Yes, we got it. Wow. Maybe. Okay, guys, so here's the deal. Ready? Here's the deal. I would think if you hold this line here at about 0.00966, if you can hold that line, that low there where you found resistance here before, you're finding support now, which also coincidentally coincides with this yellow line here, which is your 2272. Now, for anybody who's new with fibs or you don't understand fibs, you might be like, what the hell is that? The 2272 is actually a very significant level, and Bitcoin itself has had multiple cycle tops at its 2272 extension. This is on a much smaller scale, so it's different. Just because it was significant for Bitcoin doesn't mean it has to be significant for this, but it's significant in a lot of cryptos and a lot of different stocks across various time frames, and you're obviously showing significance on it now. So if you continue to hold support on the 2272 there at 0.00967, 0.00966, whatever, you can wick below it, but as long as you're closing above it, I think you're fine. And then what you would look for essentially is a close above the 2618 here, which you almost got. You wicked above, or you wicked to it, but you didn't get above it. If you can close above about 1.25, let's say 1.257 cents, if you can close above there on any given hour period, or if you close below here on any given hour period, that would make me think that you are either going to, you're either going to correct to a price down here, or it's time for the next phase up, which is probably going to take us up to like prices above 3 cents, if not even above 4 cents or 6 cents in a very, very short amount of time. So, and just looking at this pattern, taking everything away, it looks like it's ready to kind of make a decision, right? If we delete everything and we just draw, connecting our lows kind of here and our highs here, it looks like it's at a pretty decent bit of maturity. It's a very short-lived, very small pattern, but it's at a decent bit of maturity. What I've been seeing too, and one thing I'll just kind of leave you guys with again on this notion of if we expect the price to go lower, be prepared for it to not go as low. Be prepared for it to quote-unquote not make sense of where it might go. I've been noticing a lot of times throughout the past like month and a half, whenever we started consolidating in December, a lot of cryptos have done this thing where they will have a pattern like this and then they break out, and instead of moving, they continue to consolidate, and it's part of a greater pattern, and they break out of that pattern, and instead of breaking down, they continue to consolidate, right? So it's don't be so eager at the break of these lines. It might be significant, it might not be, but I would be eager if we got above 1.2 above this high technically, right? At like 1.255 is what it was, 1.257 cents. I'd be excited if we got above there. But again, just because you're excited doesn't mean that it has to rip. But my anticipation would be that it rips. Even if it doesn't, the reason why I'm talking about this at all is that even if it doesn't, it's okay. It can consolidate for more. It can break out of this and then break back down. It's fine. It can consolidate for as long as it wants. All that matters is that by the end of February, this coin likely will be moving up to higher targets at about, let's just see, using this fib here, anything from about 2.9 cents to 7.2 cents or anything in between. And looking at the price action, just hooking this up to the lows here, that 2618 makes sense right there around 5 cents. This low right here maybe, just below the 2886 up there. And then this low right here where you found some support on just above the 2272. So anything, I really would think anything above 3 cents and below 7 cents is probably going to happen by the end of February. You're at 1 cent now, so expecting big things, expecting bigger things after this move. I definitely expect that XCN will see new all-time highs. based off of this chart, the minimum expected target for all-time highs would be at about 41 cents, 42 cents, potentially all the way up to about $2.36, $2.40, something like that. So just very, very high prospects to be had. Anyways, guys, I've got nothing else for you. I guess this fib, actually, this fib level would suggest as well that these targets are on the line right here, the 786 to 886, which that's at about 3.6 to 6 cents, a little bit more of a refined range than the last one, a little bit less wide of a range. But yeah, that's probably more of an appropriate area. I like that 886 right there, coming in line with some resistance points here and support points there. You probably do go right up to 6 cents, if not at least 3.6 cents. I'm going to leave it on that note. If you guys like the video, hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.